What is going on YouTube? Your driver Mike here. Welcome to another live stream coming to you live from San Diego, California. I hope you're having a good Friday evening wherever you're watching this from. Well, I wanted to go live here and I wanted to talk about something because you may have some money sitting in your wallet. Well, maybe not yet, but you may have some money sitting in your wallet. How much? How about upwards of $10,000? So the title of this live stream, as you see, is Lyft may owe you, maybe paying you a $10,000 bonus. We're going to talk about what that means, why we're even talking about this $10,000, where it even came from, and if you're not eligible for the $10,000, well, as a Lyft driver, you may be eligible for a cool $1,000. So firstly, welcome to another live stream, guys. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know how long you've been driving for Uber and or Lyft. I originally started for both platforms at the end of 2015, have since really moved away from rideshare and worked in other aspects in the gig economy. But I want to know, how long have you been driving for those platforms for Uber and Lyft? Hey, Fernando, I see you in here. Rideshare Rockstar, thanks for being here. And Chef Bobby, always good to have you in here, guys. There's a lot of money on the table. You're probably wondering, Mike, $10,000, that's a lot of money. Yeah, it is. And Lyft is going to pay each and every one of you $10,000 or $1,000. And let's not forget about Uber. Uber may be doing something very similar. So we're going to talk about that. So what does this revolve around? Well, this bonus revolves around the upcoming initial public offerings, IPO stock offerings, right, from these private companies. Uber and Lyft, in the coming really weeks, guys, soon, these companies are going to be listing on the NASDAQ, I believe, for Lyft, and the New York Stock Exchange, if I have that correct, for Uber. Well, they want to extend almost an olive branch. Kind of a thank you to you as the driver. Maybe mend some past wounds. They understand. They know you're not quite particularly happy maybe with them as a company, and they want to say thank you for being a driver. At least that's what the kind of thought process may be around this. I'll let you decide. But for right now, let me know in the live chat, or if you're watching this in the rebroadcast, how long you've been driving for Uber and Lyft. And very important, answer this question. How many rides have you done on each platform? Let me know, or just think to yourself, if you don't want to write it in the comments, how many rides have you done with either platform? Rideshare Rockstar says, St. Louis, Missouri, 2.5 years. I have close to 1,600 rides on Lyft. Fernando says 4 months, New Jersey. Thanks for being here again, Fernando. And commenting, Juan says, what's the catch? Oh, Juan, guys, what's the catch? Okay, here's the catch, guys, and we're going to go into this right now. AJ, thanks for being here. Texas, 5 months. Is the vast majority of you and I, if I'm going to be the one to break it to you guys, I'm sorry. The vast majority of you will not qualify for the $10,000 bonus. And that's what it is. It's a bonus. It's a cash bonus. That's what a cash bonus, right, to you as a driver. Let me show you who qualifies. So this is a part of, like I mentioned, the initial public offerings here. And this is a driver bonus, but only to certain drivers, okay? As reported, as we can see here by CNBC, certain drivers will qualify for certain bonuses. So who qualifies? We're going to go over a couple articles that talks about this, but I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to get straight to the chase here. Right here. So if we review this, can I zoom in? No, I can't. That's okay. Lyft would give out $1,000 to any driver that has 10,000 rides logged on the platform. Lyft will give out $10,000, a huge number that you weren't expecting to get. How does $10,000 sound that you weren't expecting from Lyft, but you have to have 20,000 rides? That's the caveat. Now some of you may be celebrating right now. If you have 20,000 rides on the Lyft platform as a driver, you qualify for a $10,000 bonus simply for being a driver. Now, this is not set in stone. However, this is what Lyft has said. Okay, so it's basically set in stone, but until we see it actually happen, right, we'll take it for what it is. If you have 10,000 rides on Lyft at any time, any time period, it doesn't matter when you signed up, as long as you have 10,000 rides, you get an extra $1,000. Again, an extra $1,000 that you weren't expecting for just doing what you already do. If you're a veteran driver, or if you're a hustler that's grinding on the Lyft platform, and if you have 20,000 rides, you will get an extra $10,000. Okay, why, right? Why? Well, firstly, let me know if you qualify. Let us know in the live chat or in the rebroadcast in the comments if you qualify, and if so, for which one. Hey, Chef Bobby, I see you in here again. You must have a 5-star rating, right? No. There's no mention of rating. So do not worry about your rating. It only, as far as we can see here, and this is echoed across all these articles, the only thing that matters is your number of rides. Rideshare 2K, thanks for being here. If you have 20,000 rides, you only do Lyft, is what Rideshare 2K says. That's a fantastic point. We're going to talk about that. Jen Joy, thanks for being here as always. Jen Joy says 20,000 rides is probably like 0.0001% of drivers. Think about that. Jen Joy also says they should give you $10,000 for that many rides. That way you lost way more in expenses. Rideshare 2K says they're going to tax that. They are going to tax them. It's income, right? This would be income. You are a 1099. You're still an independent contractor. You're not an employee, right? So this income, 1,000 or 10,000, will be taxed. Tax time's coming up, guys. Make sure to report all your earnings from Uber and Lyft, any bonuses, to your CPA or tax attorney. So what this is stemming from is Lyft says, well, hey, we want to give our drivers the option to purchase Lyft stock because they're coming to market in the stock exchange, going public, right, as a company. So they're going to be selling shares of Lyft stock to the public. But here's the thing, is they want you as a driver to purchase that stock at the initial public offering, the IPO price. So that means you're going to get the very entry-level pricing when the stock goes live. What they're doing is they're allowing you to use that $1,000 or $10,000 towards purchase of stock. And actually, let's look at another article here. This one from CNN Business. But firstly, let me come back to you guys. So I want to know, again, in the live chat, if you qualify. And even if you don't qualify, let us know, because I need to get a good idea of how realistic this number is. Please put the amount of rides that you've driven on Uber and or Lyft. You can kind of designate which platform in the live chat or in the comments. So the rest of us can get an idea. Okay, well, here's what drivers are actually driving. You know, basically when I was tapering off rideshare, I had a couple thousand, maybe 3,000 rides total between each platform. So that's basically 1,500 rides per platform. I think I did a lot more Uber rides than I did Lyft rides. But let us know, because Lyft is setting the bar extremely high. And I'm going to go back to the comment here from Jen Joy saying that, well, hey, basically no one qualifies for $10,000. So do you think this is more of a PR move than anything? To have 20,000 rides on a single platform, I would agree with you guys in the comment section is you would exclusively, pretty much exclusively, have to drive for a single platform almost since its inception. Now, Lyft was founded in 2012 and Uber in 2009. Now, of course, it didn't really gain much traction until the coming years after that. So to gain 20,000 on a single platform, you basically have to be a full-time driver. But let's go back to this article from CNN Business. I want to highlight a few more points in this for you. Something I saw that was very interesting in this article, if we scroll down, and again, this is detailing the initial public offering from both of these companies. Let's go over this section right here. I'm just pulling this for an example. There's a lot of this that stands out for me, but I'm going to show you this, and we'll read from this. The bonus program will provide one-time cash rewards to recognize drivers who have contributed to our success. Drivers can use those cash bonuses to buy stock in its directed share program when the company goes public. Because drivers are independent contractors, they wouldn't traditionally be eligible for such a program, unlike certain employees, investors, and board members. So what that's saying is, right, you get the option to use this bonus towards stock, but moreover, you typically wouldn't have this option. And that does ring very true. Whether you agree with the numbers here or not, typically the public doesn't have access to an IPO pricing, right? You get initial kind of a round one, and then it gets released to general public stock trading, at least at a different price point. And I do want to highlight right here, kind of neat that Jay Crater from the Rideshare Guy was highlighted in this CNN article. If you guys aren't familiar with Harry Campbell and the Rideshare Guy, Jay Crater is a content contributor and a very veteran driver on rideshare who's featured on Harry's channel. And we can see here, San Francisco driver Jay Crater says he's eligible for $1,000 because he has given 14,000 rides to date. He plans to use the bonus to buy stock in the company, quote, just for the giggle. It continues, quote, it is money I wasn't expecting. Let's see if and when the IPO happens. If it does, that will now be a more interesting day, Crater says. I think that's a very interesting point. Let me ask you guys another question. I want you to answer this question. Let's just assume you get the $1,000, or let's just assume you get the $10,000, right? Let's just assume that. How many of you, this is very interesting, how many of you would invest that money back into the company? Lyft, right? In this example, this is Lyft. And how many of you would just keep that? And if you don't want to answer that, that's fine. Think to yourself. But if you would like to share, I'm very curious to know. Would you invest that back in the company? Or would you keep that for your own, what have you, right? Let's also assume you can split that amount up. I haven't seen anything that says you're able to split that amount. Like say, okay, well, I'm going to take my 10,000, I'm going to invest 2,000. I'm going to keep 8 or vice versa. And just thinking off the top of my head, what I would do, I would invest more so in Lyft than Uber. I've always liked the traction of Lyft. I probably would invest at least something into Lyft. Catching up with you guys, Zaki Ao says, Lyft 30,000. Fantastic. We have a driver that qualifies. That is Zaki Aoi. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, but we have a driver from these numbers at least that qualifies for the $10,000 bonus. This is very interesting. Again, this isn't quite set in stone as of now. This is as reported by Lyft, however. Chef Bobby says, I have 3,000 rides in 3.5 years. It's not realistic. Rideshare 2K with a good question. Mike, what's the average yearly rides for a full-time driver? That's hard to say, but you can average thousands of rides. I mean, if we do the math on it, let's see. Let's find out, guys. What's the average number? I'm going to come up on a screen here just to run through this with you. I'm going to pull up my calculator. I don't know. What? 365 days in a year. How many rides can you do in a day? If you're doing full time, let's assume 3 rides an hour. If you're driving for, let's just say 8 hours a day. I know a lot of drivers, they may drive more, they may drive less. But even if you have some breaks and some rest points, let's assume you're on the road for 8 hours, right, a day. And if you're doing 3 rides an hour over 8 hours, it's 24 hours a day, right? Times 365 days a year. Let's just assume you don't take any days off, okay? Or you may have some days where you get more rides or less rides, right? That is 8,760 rides per year. That's a good amount of rides. That's if you did 8 hours a day, 3 rides an hour, which is in some markets, you may not be able to squeeze 3 rides in an hour. Other rides, yes, you can because you're in a less congested market as far as traffic goes. So if you drove every single day for 8 hours, that's actual road time, taking rides for 3 rides an hour for 8 hours, you would do 8,760 rides. Now that ride count doesn't seem so out of reach. 20,000 rides. So in 2 years, you'll have 17,520 rides. That's another, let's say 3 months, 2 months. So in 2 years and 3 months or so, you'll hit that threshold. But then again, look at the numbers that we had to put in there. And I'm going to show you guys the screen again here. But look at the numbers that we had to put in there to even make that minimum threshold. Very interesting. So is this realistic? 20,000 rides. Is that realistic? I'm kind of leaning towards no. And like JenJoy, and I think others are going to echo, is 20,000 rides on a single platform when a lot of us would drive, and you may do this, you may drive for multiple platforms, right? And you'll be, in essence, one of these articles mentioned, you'll be in essence penalized for driving on multiple platforms because you're bouncing between Uber and Lyft. This obviously only qualifies for Lyft rides, right? However, we do have a driver in here that says he qualifies at 30,000 rides. That's very interesting. I want to know your guys' experience. JenJoy says, what's the IPO price? I have not seen an IPO price, or if there is one, I don't know it as of now. I'm going to show you guys one more article here just to get a full spectrum of different reports here. We can see here The Verge reporting similarly, right? I did actually want to show you one more thing though, not this article, but one more. Chef Bobby says, full-time, you can survive. From full-time, you need another job. I didn't get quite all of that, but I think I know what you're going with there. So this is what I wanted to show you. This from Gizmodo saying, let's not be so quick to praise Lyft's promise of $10,000 bonuses for drivers. This is an interesting read because it talks about, we'll see right here, what one driver says. What does 20,000 rides actually look like in work hours? One driver says, I have 1,529 rides working part-time, around 15 hours a week, right? That's part-time hours, there you go, for the past 4 years with Lyft. One driver who asked not to be named told Gizmodo via Reddit direct message. They also claim that my cousin, who is a full-time driver working 60 hours a week, has achieved 6,933 rides in 3 years of service with Lyft. Important to note, see, this is really, really interesting. This is why I want to hear you guys' feedback in the comments. This driver right here, this driver's cousin, right? Full-time, working 60 hours a week, has achieved 6,933 rides in 3 years. Let's do the math on this as well. So that is 2,311 rides per year on Lyft. Our math, as we showed prior, said that a driver would do about 8,700 if they were doing 8 hours a day, 3 rides an hour every day. Even if we cut that off by a couple thousand, that would still put that driver at 6,000 rides or 5,000 rides. This example, this driver is doing 2,300 rides on Lyft. So while this driver cites their cousin being full-time, I bet you this driver who's working 60 hours a week also does Uber. That's why this is so tricky. And I want to ask you if you think this is fair. I have one more scenario I want to present to you. Because that driver that's doing 60-hour weeks, I bet you they're doing Uber as well. That's why they're only doing 2,300 rides a year on Lyft. Because I bet you there's probably another 4,000 rides, I would bet, with Uber. That's very interesting. And I'm betting that Lyft took careful thought of pinpointing that number of 20,000 rides, right? Now, my opinion is I've always wanted some kind of bonus for drivers. We have videos or live streams from years ago where I talk about a program that would benefit the driver based on his or her tenure with the company or his or her rides with the company, how many rides they've done, right? And these articles also mention, a few of them mention that there's really no, I'm going to come back here to you guys, there's really no sliding scale for a bonus. And why not? Instead of having a threshold of 10,000 rides, and from 10,000 to 19,999, you still only earn $1,000 in this bonus program. Why is it that it takes another 10K rides to get to the $10,000? If this truly was a olive branch, if this was a program to recognize drivers, I mean, hey, what about that driver that did 17,000 rides or 15,000 rides or even 5,000? I think 5,000 would be a good place maybe to start this. Is giving a driver who's done 5,000 rides some monetary bonus. Maybe we'll do 5,000, 8,000, and then 10,000. You can even break that up further from 12,000 to 15,000. And then you're 20,000. We can leave that gap, right, from 15,000 to 20, but have a smaller gap from 10 to 12 and 12 to 15, and then have the big gap from 15 to 20. This is just food for thought. This is just me thinking with you guys. But wouldn't you like to see some kind of sliding scale? Let me know in the comments here. Let me see what you guys are saying. Chef Bobby says, and then you toss your car into the junkyard after that because you would have had so much damage to it. Yeah, right, 30,000 rides. I think there's some, let's see here. Zaki says I used 2 cars while doing that. So Zaki confirms 2 cars with 15,000 rides per vehicle, or generally per vehicles is what they're saying there. So do you think there should be a sliding scale? That's the last question before we go here, and I'll take any other questions. Actually, right now, post any questions down in the live chat or the rebroadcast. And hey, before you go, if you don't care about Q&A, can you do one thing for me? Because I know you're busy, it's the weekend. But can you take a time out and can you please leave a like on this video? It shows me that you get value in these live streams and the content here in the channel. It gets more people, more eyes on the channel, more people on the Your Driver Mike team. And of course, since we're here on YouTube, it boosts us in YouTube's almighty algorithm, which is very important. If you can please leave a like on the live stream, I'd really appreciate it, guys. So right now is your chance. Post some questions in the live chat, or if you're watching this in the rebroadcast, I get back to most every single question. So don't worry if you're watching this late. Post your questions right now in the live chat and answer the question, do you think this is a good idea? Do you think there should be a threshold? Are you happy with this? Because remember, no driver was really expecting this, right? This is Lyft creating this for drivers. Now, there has been rumors, well, more than rumors, there's been some I'm trying to figure out how to word it because it's not quite for sure. But anyway, Uber is working on a similar program as well, just so you guys know. So if you've done a lot more Uber rides, what I think a lot of us have, is Uber is working on a similar cash bonus system that would also allow you to buy stock in Uber. I swear these companies are different companies. They're not the same company, even though they've been doing this stuff for mirroring each other for years, I tell you. But Uber is creating a cash bonus system as well. Once that comes out in articles and announcements, we'll get that info to you. So let me know your questions, guys. Chef Bobby says, why can't you bring Lyft and give us better incentives for maintenance on a vehicle? Because that's the stuff they're giving us now is horrible. Excuse me. So interesting is, why isn't there better benefits to drivers currently? It's double-sided, I feel. I mean, there should be benefits to current drivers. I still feel that there should be tiered benefits to current and tenured drivers based on your years and your trips given, right? But programs like this as well, guys, this is once in a company lifetime. You only list an IPO once. This is only going to happen once. I feel like Uber and Lyft need to do it right. They need to really acknowledge and make drivers feel acknowledged, respected, right? I feel like if they just added a few more tiers to this bonus system, right? Because they know, they have analytics. They know the exact amount of numbers of drivers that have hit 20,000 rides. And they know exactly how much money they would have to pay out to these drivers. I would estimate that it's got to be, what, couple hundred? I can't imagine it being 1,000 plus drivers. It's going to be a couple hundred, maybe 200, I don't know, 600 amount of drivers that have done this from the beginning almost. And I like the gesture. I like the amount. $10,000 is a lot of money. I even like $1,000. That's pretty great. But if they just added maybe a few more tiers, let me go back to you guys. So do post your questions in the live chat. I don't see any other questions. So what I'm going to do is let you guys post any other questions down below in the comment section and answer these questions. Are you happy with the cash bonuses? Are you happy with the option to buy these stocks at the IPO price? That's another benefit that you get here. Do you think that Uber and or Lyft, we're assuming that Uber is going to do a similar thing here, do you feel like they should add more thresholds, right, for bonuses, right? And what else can these companies do to keep drivers and keep drivers happy in 2019? So let me know that in the comments or in the live chat right now. I appreciate you guys watching this live stream. Look for more and make sure to join our live stream tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. That's 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we go over Airbnb. I'm really excited to have round 2 of our Airbnb live streams with my brother Matt, based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a successful Airbnb host, as we go over the top 5 things that he wished he knew before hosting his personal home, his residence, on Airbnb. So make sure to set your reminder and join us tomorrow evening. Again, that is 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for watching this live stream, and I'll see you guys in the next one.